Let's look at the sentences from Chapter 8. Practice and review. Number 1. Tempora nostra nunc sunt mala, vitia nostra magna. Two sentences here, and you know they're two sentences. Even in English, it's helpful. It's separated by a semicolon. The verb is sunt, and the sunt is third person plural, present, indicative, active of the verb sum, esse, fui, futurum. They are. Now what are? Our times. This is nominative, plural, neuter, modified by nostra. Mala after the verb also modifies tempora. Our times are bad. And we got to get in the nunc. Now bad. Our times are now bad. Our vitia, vices, our vices, are great. Now, these all modify, well, nostra modifies vitia, my mistake. Magna modifies vitia. Sunt governs these in the second part of the sentence also. Even though sunt is not repeated, you have to provide it. Romans will often leave out words where in English we don't. Our times are now bad. Our vices, great. Number 2. Quare sora mea uxori tuae litteras scribit? And then they provide other options. Wheelock provides other options, scribet, scribebat, so you can see the use of the third conjugation and the difference in the tenses. So, scribit is the verb. It's the third person, singular, present, indicative, active, from scribo, scribere, scribo, scribere, scripsi, scriptum. Okay? And we know that scribere, it's a third conjugation verb. So, it's the present tense. The sign for the present tense in the third conjugation is an I. Scribit. She is writing. Who is writing? Soror. And soror is nominative singular feminine. My sister is writing. So, my sister is writing. And what is the direct object? We need to find something in the accusative. Litteras, accusative, plural, feminine, is writing a letter. Now, letter in Latin is plural, which may seem odd to you, but because when you write a letter, our thought of a letter, you write letters. And so a Roman would say letter, a letter, you're writing a letter. What letter are you writing? B, C, G? What letter are you writing? So to a Roman, our use of letter to mean a bunch of letters would be odd. In the same way, for us to use letters in the plural to mean one letter is odd too. The defect in the Romans, from our English way of thinking, is that you don't know if it's one piece of paper or two, an individual letter, or many letters, but that's okay. Why is my sister writing uxori? Dative, singular feminine, and tuae modifies it. To your wife. Why is my sister writing a letter to your wife? How would this change if it were scribet? If it were scribet, the E is the sign of the future tense of the third conjugation verb. And scribebat, it would, why was my sister writing? The BA is the imperfect tense of the verb, the third conjugation verb. Why is my sister writing a letter to your wife? Number 3, Tyrannus populum stultum e terra vestra ducet. The verb is ducet. Here it is. The subject is Tyrannus, nominative, singular masculine. Use in the sentence, the subject, ducet, third person singular, future, indicative, active. Why will there's no why, grabbing that from the previous sentence, excuse me. The tyrant will lead. Will lead what? A populum. Accusative, singular masculine. What kind of a populum? A stultum populum, a foolish people. E terra vestra, just a prepositional phrase that means out of your country. The tyrant will lead a foolish people from your country. How would that change if we were using ducet? Ducet is the present tense. The I is the present tense in a third conjugation verb. The tyrant is leading a foolish people. And how would this change for ducebat? ducebat is the imperfect. The tyrant was leading a foolish people from your land. Number 4. Ubi satis rationis amor animorumque in hominibus erit. Ubi. Ubi can be where, or it can be when. Satis is enough. Rationis, genitive, singular, feminine, of reason. And animorumque, genitive, plural, masculine. In hominibus, in mankind. Erit, third person singular, future, indicative, active. When will there be? I think in Latin it's oftentimes helpful to grab the verb early on because that's where we put it in English. When will there be enough of reason and courage in men? Let me say one thing about the word satis. We use satis both as a noun and as an adjective. What I mean, we say enough reason, that's an adjective, or enough of reason. Latin does it only one way, enough of reason. So satis is the noun, rationis is the genitive that is governed by satis. And the Romans are not going to say enough reason. They will say enough of reason. It's a partitive genitive or genitive of the whole. But in English we do both ways, so you can choose for yourself when you translate it into English. Number 5. Copia verae virtutis multas culpas superare poterat. Copia poterat. Poterat, third person singular, imperfect, active, indicative. Copia, nominative, singular, feminine. A supply was able. A supply what? Verae virtutis. Verae is an adjective, but I don't know if verae could be the genitive, singular, feminine. Verae could be the dative, singular, feminine. Verae could be the nominative, plural, feminine. That AE ending on the end doesn't give us enough information, but virtutis can only be the genitive, singular, feminine. So therefore, I'm going to go with this one as the winner for verae, a supply of true courage. Was able, the imperfect tense, and we expect the complementary infinitive to follow. It's the present active infinitive. What is this use in the sentence? Complementary infinitive. A supply of true virtue was able to overcome faults. Accusative plural feminine. What kind of faults? Many faults. A supply of true virtue was able to overcome the many faults. Number 6. In libera civitate adolescentiam agebamus. In libera civitate, prepositional phrase. Agebamus is the verb, first person plural, present. My mistake, imperfect. Imperfect, active, indicative. Adolescentiam is the direct object. It has that am ending, accusative, singular, feminine. In a free state, we did our youthhood. What does that mean? We did our youthhood. It means we would say we spent our childhood. The Romans would say spent, like money. That doesn't make any sense. We at least use a word that means do. We did our youthhood. We carried out our youthhood. But that doesn't make sense in English. So you have a phrase in Latin that makes perfect sense, doesn't make sense in English. A corresponding phrase in English wouldn't make sense to the Romans. Let's use what makes good English in this case. Oftentimes I want to move to what, for Latin one, I think it's best to, whenever you can, and if you need to stick to the literal sense. I appreciate that, so you can demonstrate your understanding of the Latin construction, okay? But in this particular case, it's very specific to this word, ago. So I think it's fine as and youth. We spent our youth. Okay? We spent our childhood in a free state. Number 7. Regem malum tolerare numquam debemus. Regem. Hopefully you'll recognize that em right away. I don't know what it means, don't know how to translate it, but that's my accusative singular masculine. That's my direct object. Malum modifies it. So, odds are, since the subject is not in the first word in the sentence, we're going to have to go to the end, and there we are. First person plural, present, indicative, active. This is we ought. Now, with this word, we expect what? Ding, 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 complementary infinitive. And sure enough, I remember from reading it out loud, tolerare is right there in the middle of the sentence. So, present active infinitive, and its use in the sentence is specifically, it is the complementary infinitive. We ought to tolerate. Now let's throw this in here. Ad numquam is an adverb. We ought to never tolerate a bad king. And that's perfectly fine English. I think we'd be more apt to say we should never tolerate a bad king, but we ought never tolerate a bad king. Fine too. Number 8. Post parvam moram multa verba de insidiis scriptorum stultorum scribemus. Wow, lots going on. Let's take post parvam moram. That's just a phrase. Get it out of there for the moment. Multa verba. I'm going to go with the direct object. De insidiis, right prepositional phrase, and probably this scriptorum stultorum goes in it. Because when you have a genitive right in the middle of the sentence, it generally goes with the noun, okay? That's right directly in front of it. So we have something, 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 many words, about something, something, something. Now we get to the verb scribemus. First person plural, future, active, indicative. We will write. There we go. I want you to, the reason I say something, something, something is because I want you to get to the verb. I want you to get your core of the sentence. Then you can throw in these prepositional phrases, the post parvam moram. That's not your core of your sentence. Don't worry about it. Don't overwhelm yourself with all these words. Let's get to the heart. Scribemus verba. We will write words. Accusative, plural, neuter, specifically many words. We will write many words. That's the core of your sentence. Now let's build on that. We will write many words post parvam moram, after a delay, accusative, singular, feminine. What kind of delay? After a small delay. Aha! After a small delay, we will write many words. De insidiis, about the treacheries, okay? Scriptorum stultorum, this is genitive, plural, masculine. Stultorum modifies it. We will, after a small delay, we will write many words about the treacheries of foolish writers. Do you see how I try to focus on the root of the sentence and then flesh it out with these other words that are important in the sentence, of course, but they are not the root, the core of the sentence. Number 9, the body will remain there under the ground. Body will remain. There's your verb. There is an adverb. Under the ground, prepositional phrase. We don't have a word for the. Body, nominative, singular, neuter. Will remain, third person, singular, future, indicative, active. There, adverb. Under, sub. The ground is ablative, singular, feminine. So let's look at body. Corpus. Let's put the verb at the end. Will remain. Re, man, a. What's the sign of the future for this word? What is your word? Remaneo. Remanere. Remanui. I don't think there is a fourth principal part. So it's a long E. This is a second conjugation verb. The sign for the future is a B, BI, or BU. Remanebit. The corpus, remanebit. Ibi, there. Under, sub. Terra is under the ground. Corpus, ibi sub terra, remanebit. Number 10, write many things about the glory of our state. Write things. This is your imperative. Aha, I see it's a command. Imperative. We have to decide. Singular, I'm going to pick singular. It's the imperative, singular, present, active. Let's do this right. Second person implied. We can go do this. Second person, singular, present, imperative, active. There we go. I've been consistent there. Many things, accusative, plural, neuter, about the glory of our state. Glory, about the glory day. Glory is going to be ablative, singular feminine. Of our state, there's not going to be of because we're going to put this in the genitive. Genitive, singular feminine, and our is going to modify it. So write, scribe. Many things. What construction do you have, very Roman in this case, that you can use? The substantive use of the adjective. Multa. Write many things. De gloria. De gloria. You can say, well, it mentions state and not country. That's fine. De gloria nostri civitatis. Notice, civitatis is your genitive ending for a third declension noun. Nostri doesn't look like it, but nostri is a first or second declension adjective, and that is the genitive singular feminine ending of a first or second declension adjective. How's that? (11) Does reason always lead your queen to virtue? Reason does lead. We're going to treat this as one verb because does, it's just the emphatic one, and when you make a sentence, we have to add that does. I eat pizza. I like pizza. Do you like pizza? Notice how when we take a verb and change it into a question, or take a statement and make it a question, we have to include that do in there. He plays football. Statement of fact. Does he play football? Question. So this doesn't mean the word do as so much as our English convention for creating a question. So you don't need to translate it because it's implied in part of the verb. Lead, queen, to virtue. There we go. Reason, nominative, singular, and I'm going to use ratio, so it's feminine. Always is an adverb. Does, lead, third person singular. Present, indicative, active of what verb? Let's use duco, ducere, ducere, duxi, ductum. Your queen, accusative, singular feminine, and your is going to modify it. To virtue, let's say odd plus the accusative, and where tutem is accusative, singular feminine, in this case. Reason, ratio, and it's going to be a question, so we can say ratione. Put that ne at the end of the first word to let you know it's a question. Ratione semper ducit, your queen, reginam, we're going to put the accusative singular feminine ending on it, tuam, okay, reginam tuam, to virtue, ad where to tem. And I'm going to be tempted to put this semper ducit at the end. Ratione reginam tuam ad virtutem semper ducit. Yeah, that's a nice sounding Latin sentence. Put that semper ducit at the end. We shall always see many Greek names there. We shall see names there. So always is an adverb. There is an adverb. We will see. It's all going to be one word. First person plural. Future active indicative. What word are we going to use? Video, videre. It's a long ere. Wine, widi, wiki, video, videre, widi. Sorry, wisum. Second conjugation verb. What's the sign of the future? A be, bi, or bu. Names, accusative, plural, neuter. There is an adverb. So, we shall see. Video, vide, bimus. Always, semper. Names, nomina, multa, graeca. And you can put multa. Multa might go best in front of it. Videbimus semper multa nomina Graeca. I'm fine with that. Ibi. I'm not sure I like that ib at the end. I'd move that maybe over here, but I'm not sure I like the semper and the ibi together. That's okay. I think in Latin it might be a little better. This is going beyond the scope of the grammar. You understand that? I think in this case, ibi. Nomina, multa nomina Graeca semper videbimus. I think it might be better sounding Latin in that case. We want to put the verb at the end. Just semper and ibi together just doesn't seem right to me. But again, we're focusing on the grammar right now, not the word order. The grammar for both of these sentences perfectly fine at this stage of the game. Sententiae antiquae. Frater meus vitam in otio semper aget. Frater is the subject, aget is the verb. Aget, let's look at the verb. What does it come from? It comes from ago, agere, egi, actum. And it is a third conjugation verb, which means that E is a sign of the future. So it is the future. My brother, frater meus, vitam, accusative singular feminine. It's the direct object. In otio, ablative singular neuter. Semper is an adverb. My brother will always live his life. In otio. Ago doesn't mean live, but just like before, the spent our youth will always spend his life. Pass his life, we say live our life. And a Roman would find that bizarre. You live a life? What else would you live? A Roman would say. Why would you have to say life if you say live? We will live in leisure. Why do you have to say we live a life? That would be the Romans' argument, I would contend. So if this phrase to do your life is bothersome to you, think about explaining our use to a Roman. That's my only point here. That's it. So my brother will always live his life in leisure. Number 2, age, iuame, duc me ad secundum filium meum. It's a very, I've always been bothered by this. Age, hey, come, do, act, come. Iuame, help me. These are all imperatives. Lead me. And then, we've got this, help, come, help me. Lead me to my second favorite son. Or to my second son. What is the word duke? Duke is the imperative, the singular imperative. You expect it to be duce because the verb is ducere. So you expect it to be duce, but this is one of 4 words in Latin that have an irregular present imperative. Those 4 are dic, duc, fac, faire. Dic, speak, duc, lead, fac is do, faire is carry or take. Dic, duc, fac, faire. Say, lead, do, carry. Just those are the 4 words that are irregular in the imperative. Number 3, o amici perdimus. First person plural. We are losing liberty. Accusative singular feminine. It is the direct object. Oh friends, we are losing freedom. Number 4, nova pericula populo Romano exponam sine mora. Nova pericula. Look at that, right at the beginning of the sentence. My expectation, my thought is this would be nominative. But when you get to the verb exponam, first person singular, future active indicative, I am the subject. This must be the direct object, accusative plural neuter. Nova modifies it. The verb is exponam. I will show. And what do I expect from verbs of giving, showing, or telling? Dative, singular, masculine. I will show new dangers to the Roman people, sine mora, without delay. Number 5, numquam periculum sine periculo vincemus. Vincemus is your verb, first person plural, future, active, indicative, we will conquer. Or in this case, this is your adverb, we will never conquer danger. Accusative, singular, neuter, without danger. That's something a general would say before, sounds like something a general would say. We will never conquer danger without danger. Ex meis erroribus hominibus rectum iter demonstrare possum. We get to the end. There's my verb. I am able. What do I expect with possum? The complementary infinitive. I am able to show. I am able to show, complementary infinitive. Show what? A journey. Accusative, or path. Might be better here. Accusative, singular, neuter. What kind of path? The straight path. Two men demonstrating we expect. This is your, don't circle that because it's not the direct object. This is the dative, plural, masculine. I am able to show the right path to men. Ex meis erroribus. Out of my errors. From my errors, from my mistakes, I am able to show a straight path to men. Don't get me wrong. I believe by putting this erroribus, hominibus all together there, meis erroribus, hominibus, Wheelock was absolutely trying to trick us. But hominibus does not go with meis or erroribus. Looks like it might. You want it to. It's the direct object with demonstrate. Catullus Marco Tullio Cicerone Magnus Gratias Agit. Catullus gives, does what? Thanks. What kind of thanks? Great thanks. Marco Tullio Cicerone, these are all in the datives. Dative, singular, masculine. It's his full name. First, middle, last. Marcus Tullius Cicero. So yes, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but if I'm giving a book to Marcus, Marcus goes in the dative case. No problem, you say. I got it. What if I'm giving it to Marcus Cicero? Oh, both first and last name have to be in the dative case. And if I'm giving them all three names, if I'm using all three names have to be in the dative case. That's just the way it goes. Just like if you're using a first and last name in the accusative, both of them have to go in the accusative. Don't know if you ever thought about that, but that's what's happening here. Catullus gives thanks, great thanks to Marcus Tullius Cicero. Eximia forma virginis oculus hominum convertit. The forma convertit. Not just any old forma, but the eximia forma. The eximia forma convertit. What is it convertit? Oculos. And this is your genitive, plural, masculine, genitive, singular, feminine. So, notice how I've gotten the sense of the sentence, the structure of the sentence without even translating it. The outstanding, beautiful form of the maiden turns the eyes of men. Number 9. Agamemnon magnas copias aetera Graecia ad Troiam ducet. Ubi multos viros necabit. I want you to get the structure. We have two sentences here. This one, ubi. Ubi, multos viros, that's my direct object. Accusative, plural, masculine. What's its use in the sentence? Direct object. Necabit, third person singular, future, active, indicative. So where nekabat, he will kill many men. I handled that just because it's 3 words. Well, 4 if you count the ubi. He will kill many men. Agamemnon ducet. What tense is that? Remember the word is duco. I wrote it poorly. Ducere, duxi, ductum. It is a third conjugation verb, which means that E is a sign of the future. So it is the third singular future active indicative. Kopios is your direct object, accusative, plural, feminine. Aetera Graecia is a prepositional phrase. Ad Troiam, prepositional phrase. Agamemnon will lead the great armies. Aetera Graecia, from the Greek land, ad Troiam, to Troy. Where, and now we get the rest of the sentence, he will kill many men. 10. Amor laudis homines trahit. Well, only 4 words, how does it go together? Amor, it's the first word in the sentence. I'm going to, have to guess, nominative singular masculine. Amor, trahit, third singular present active indicative. Love, drags, what? Well, we've got two words here. Homenes is accusative, plural, masculine. Love draws men. All right, now what do we do with this loudest in business? Well, if you analyze it, it is genitive, singular, feminine. That genitive regularly and consistently goes right after the noun as the genitive of. Love of praise drags men. Number 11, ratio me ducet, non fortuna. We had that ducet before. It's the future of will lead. Reason shall lead me, not fortune. Third singular future active indicative. For the present tense, it would be ducet. I is the sign for the present tense in the third conjugation verbs. I got the word order a little wrong here, and I knew that at the time. It's okay. Auctores pacis Caesar conservabit. Well, here you go. Caesar conservabit. Caesar is the nominative, conservabit, third person, singular, future, active, indicative. Caesar will save. The accusative, plural, masculine, the authors, pacis, genitive, singular, feminine. Getting a lot of genitives in this chapter, aren't we? Pacis goes right after auctores. The makers of peace. Caesar will save. Doesn't have to be that flowery. Caesar will save the authors of peace. Fine. Inter multas curas laboresque carmina scribere non possum. Inter multas curas laborasque. There we go. That's prepositional phrase. Let's get that out of the way. Let's move that over. Possum. I am not able. I am not able what? Complementary infinitive, to write. I am not able to write what? Accusative, plural, neuter. I wrote masculine. I said neuter. Neuter is correct. I am not able to write songs. Inter multas curas laboresque. Amidst many cares and labors, hardships. Among many cares and hardships, I am not able to write songs. Dum in magna urbe declamus, mi amice, scriptorum Troiani belli in otio religo. Dum means while. While in the great city, declamas, you are declamating, you are speaking. While you are speaking in the great city, my friend, I am reading the author of the Trojan War in leisure. Yep, you've got called to a conference in Rome. I'm hanging out at the beach reading a book. That's what this sentence means. While you are speaking in the great city, while you're working in Rome, I am enjoying the author of the Trojan War in leisure. 14. Non vitae sed scholae discumus. This one's a tough one. It's a little annoying. We learn discumus. First person plural, present indicative active. We dance, right? A disco, a dance. No, that's not what it means. It's what I always want it to mean. We dance. It means to learn. We get the word disciple from it. We learn not for life, but for school. It's a play on words. It's a writing, a little epigram. It's a saying, a phrase of Seneca, where learn for life, not for school. But here, Wheelock thought he was being funny, flipped it around. Learn for not for life, but school. We are learning. It's just a humorous thing. And number 15, homines dum docent discunt. Men, while they teach, they learn. Or while they are teaching, they are learning. Or dancing, perhaps. But could be teaching and dancing, perhaps. The dancing teacher. But dum docent. While they lead, while they teach, they learn. So when you know something well enough to teach it, or when you learn things, you teach, and it's again another philosophical phrase. But I like this one better than the other one, perhaps. That's it, chapter 8. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.